Back on the SportsMax Zone, best performance of the campaign? That was the general feeling within the Reggae Boyz setup after they rallied to earn a 1-1 draw with El Salvador in their World Cup qualifying encounter at the National Stadium on Thursday night. But despite dominating the contest, Jamaica went behind through a 21st minute header from Eric Zavaleta. Andre Gray found the equaliser for the Reggae Boyz in the 72nd minute. Now, while the Reggae Boyz controlled the general run of play, they missed several chances, with Gray and Damien Lowe among those failing to convert good opportunities. Let's get some reactions now from some of the players.
I think it's the best we played since I've probably been here. I think overall, I thought we played similar against Costa Rica, but not as good the second half. But I think today was 90 minutes of really just us dominating the game, but we had to take our chances and we didn't. But I think it's something good to see.
What was most amazing for me personally is that the team showed a performance for the fans to enjoy themselves, and that's what it's about. I think it's about time that we make a change. Yeah, I would say we haven't made it to the World Cup, but tonight showed a lot of positive on how we need to develop and move forward, and I think tonight showed that we are a good team. We can compete and we can play football.
They can tell you better than me because they felt the game. They were in the game. I need to just go in there, speak to them. They can tell you what the game was all about. They played with style. I asked them to play with style. I asked them to play with a smile on their face, and they played with the ball like nobody's business. There were triangles popping up all over the place. Everybody was brave to take the ball. You know, we've just got to build on that.
Yeah, head coach Paul Hall there now. Leon Bailey made a return to the team on Thursday night, having missed all 3 matches in the previous international window. He too believes the team display was the best of the campaign.
I'm happy that things have been changed a little bit and everybody's willing to listen and learn and go forward and enjoy the game. We had too much hothead in the team. We had too much people who doesn't want to take talk. I feel like for us to go forward, everybody has to want to learn. Nobody's bigger than the game. I'm not bigger than the game, but I have a lot of experience.
Yeah, interesting comments there, George, from Leon Bailey. Encouraged by what he saw last night, felt very comfortable, and threw some stinging remarks there about the team prior to the team that played last night. Had too many hot heads in the team, people who didn't take talk. I wonder who he's talking about.
I wonder too, but let's take them in turn, no? Let's talk about the hothead comment first and then reflect on the performance. So what he said about hotheads squares with what we have heard behind the scenes about certain interpersonal relationships in the camp and how those interpersonal relationships were making it difficult for the coach to handle the team. And when we say coach, we're specifically talking about Theodore Tapper Whitmore, the struggles that he had, the trouble that he had. A coach really ought not to be busying himself with those things, but he had to be putting out fires and solving problems that he would rather use his energy to deal with tactics and on-field issues. So what Leon said in that regard squared with what we were hearing. From my perspective, where the performance is, well, before I even move there, so what say you about the
Well, the fact is, you hear a comment like that and you immediately wonder about the names and the personalities involved. So the players who were not there last night, who played in the last window, included Mikel Antonio, Daniel Johnson, Ethan Pinnock, Bobby Reid, Corey Burke and Kimar Lawrence. Now, I don't know how many of this group would have been the target of his comments, but it's an important comment. And if Leon Bailey is not on his own in that feeling, then I have to agree with part of his sentiment, suggesting that it charts the way forward with building a unit of cohesive players who are capable of gelling and players who are capable of taking the Reggae Boyz further than we saw this cycle, which was nowhere. We went nowhere.
Well, I hear you on that. I don't know if I share your optimism on the latter point. And here's why I don't share your optimism on the latter point. It's not as if the names you read out were players who have been pariahed from the national team. It's just that they chose not to make themselves available for this game or for these 3 games for whatever reason. So for all intents and purposes, if they do indicate that they are available, you would expect that Paul Hall would call them.
Yeah, but I want to say quickly, though, that Paul Hall said in an interview earlier this week that he's disappointed about the lack of commitment shown by some of the players reached out to. Now, if he's strong and if he's serious, then that would influence the players he wants in his setup. So if he feels players aren't committed, he is the coach. He has the right to decide who he wants in his setup.
And last night, where producer is telling us who was at the game, or senior producer, that he said that the players who turned up for the game on Thursday, who accepted the invitation to play in Thursday's game, are the ones who are committed. But I'm saying to you, you have to read these coaches literally. There's nothing in all that he said, and I accept what you say, and I accept your interpretation of it. But there is nothing in what he said that suggests he will not call these players again. Because no coach is going to be foolish enough to cut his legs off at the knees, or to cut his legs off anywhere, whether at the ankles or at the toes, to hobble himself going into a serious competition or going into a qualification process. So it's good that he has placed on the record that he is displeased with those who haven't made themselves available, but he's left the line open, left the door open to call on them. You raised the point about the who-lands. We would be irresponsible if we call names and try to speculate who. And I know that you, like myself, have heard things about certain players in the camp. We won't repeat them here because it will only give legs to rumors. What is true, though, is that there is a common thread among the players that you've called. Of course, we know that among those players that you called are players who are not organically Reggae Boys. By that, what do I mean? They didn't learn their football here, and they came here late. No problem. That's not to cast aspersions at them. And then there are others in that group who came from here but went abroad, and they didn't get their call up playing for a club here. It was when they went abroad that they did well enough to catch the eye of the national coaches who then invited them. And that's a commonality among all those players you called, because there's not a player there who got his first call up playing for a local team. Yeah? So it is, you can narrow it down to say, what is it about these players and their behavior and their attitude? What Leon Bailey, I interpreted him to be saying on Thursday night, was in the way, and he's saying this about himself and saying that others need to do so, is a relinquishing, Lance Whitaker, a relinquishing of ego for the benefit of the team. And this man, Leon Bailey, is saying to us, well, look, I myself am not bigger than this. I have relinquished ego to abide by team rules, team orders, team requirements to make the team be better than it can be, for the sum to be greater than the collective parts. And what he is saying, without having to verbalize it that way, is that there are some men who've been a part of this thing, who were not a part of the Thursday squad, who weren't willing to relinquish ego, hence them being hotheads, and hence there being problems. Can we get to the performance now, my friend?
I thought it was... The ball possession that they displayed was impressive for me. They didn't give the ball away as often as I've seen them do many times. And defensively, I thought they were very robust. They created quite a few scoring opportunities. The finishing touch on a few occasions let them down. But I thought overall it was a tidy performance. As I said, their possession game looked good. They looked confident on the ball. Apart from a few occasions, I didn't see them spray long passes away and give the ball away as often as they did in previous games. So overall, I think this was an encouraging performance, and the movement off the ball and so on was tidy, and the players played with confidence. A player like Devon Speedy Williams, the number 22, he has had some up and down performances in this cycle. Last night, I thought there were moments there where he looked composed, confident, and fully capable of, shining in the midfield role that he had last night. So overall, I would grade them a 7 out of 10 last night on the performance.
I would say that last night, on Thursday night, they did something that they've yet to do, that they didn't do before in the qualifiers.
Yes.
They created a lot of chances on Thursday night. Make no mistake. And I'm not talking half chances. When you watch the game, I stayed here after the show to watch the game. I didn't want to miss a minute of it, and I didn't. They created more chances than in any other game. So 10 out of 10 for the chances created. The finishing, though, oh my gosh. Andre Gray, a man of your caliber. The ball that was played through to you by Ravel Morrison, into the box. My senior producer is saying that Andre then said, well, that chance that he lashed high, trying to burst the ball. He kicked it down to Swallowfield lands because that's the end of the pitch he was attacking. He said the pitch was bumpy, which probably caused him to get uneven. Well, bumpy, uneven, Mr. Senior Producer. There you go. Yeah, and that caused the ball to take orbit. I'll give him that excuse. But the finishing was not up to scratch on Thursday night. And had we taken our chances, then we'd be talking about Jamaica pummeling El Salvador. Based on what I saw in the run of play, that team performance last night should have seen us pummel El Salvador. Lance, it has often been said by people, how come Jamaica has the fastest people in the world? Not in this part of the world, not in this hemisphere, in the whole goddamn world. Jamaicans are faster than everybody else. Fact. But the football team does not play as if they're from a nation of the fastest people on earth. Last night, it looked to me, man to man, we were faster than the El Salvadorians. And team-wise, we were a faster moving unit when we were in the transition positions. So I saw so many pluses. I would say to you, though, and as I said to you off air, I thought in totality, in terms of the guts that we showed, because we had to show guts, that early performance against Mexico in the Azteca, where we lost 2-1, where we should have won that game. I mean, I'm not even saying we should have drawn that game. We should have won that game. But the chances not being taken again cost us. Yeah. I think that was our best performance of the tournament. But for those who say last night was so good, I'm not going to be curmudgeonly and try to push you off the point because there were so many pluses from Thursday. And I was left scratching my head, Lance, at the point we equalized to say, how is this team fighting for crumbs in this qualification group and not having this game as one as a next step to World Cup qualification? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, George, in assessing last night's performance against what had happened previously, an important factor is that the game played last night was played under no pressure. Every game that we had played prior, when the team was still in qualification mode, there was pressure. You mentioned the Mexico game away. That was the game in Mexico, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
That they lost 2-1.
Yes, sir.
I thought overall, all things considered, that was...
So you're agreeing with me on that game?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I'm not saying they didn't play well last night, and there were many encouraging things that we saw last night in the game. I mentioned some of them, you did mention as well. So I would say that last night's game was encouraging and tidy. But it was played under no pressure. They played that game for the fans. There's a completely different mindset when a player goes into a match knowing that there isn't much at stake, as against a match that there's everything at stake, especially with some of these away games in Mexico. And to have played the way they did against Mexico, giving the game away in the last 2 minutes, that was hugely disappointing. But overall, from an outing, I would grade their effort against Mexico in that away game as better overall than we saw last night, given the circumstances of the game. And there was a match against Costa Rica, I thought that they played well. An away game against Costa Rica, they drew that one.
Yes.
I believe that they played decently as well.
Let me say this before our producer runs us out of the house. I was very impressed with Daniel Green from Mount Pleasant last night, I must tell you. And I was also very impressed with Cavaliers' Richard King. Of course, these are Jamaica Premier League boys. We have a soft spot for them. But Lance and myself, there was a point, and we're hearing that our coach, Paul Hall, said he rates those two very highly.
Yes.
Lance, we have to say it. I'd appreciate the split screen, Mr. Director, for this one. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Lance and myself went through several games, viewers, where we didn't see a good game from Daniel Green. We saw him under Donovan Ducky. We saw him under Paul Teagat Davis at Mount Pleasant, and then Wally Downs, and we just couldn't see a good game from Daniel Green. This season is a totally different story. Every time we've seen him, he's been box office in the JPL. A young player, clearly tactically intelligent, which is why so many coaches love him and give him game time, even when he's not getting the end product right. And I'm very happy to see how Daniel Green acquitted himself on his Premier League debut. And Lance, Richard King doesn't look like a boy of 19. Or 20. Richard King looks like a man of about 30 years old. Calmness personified. That is a credit for the Cavalier system. And I'm certain those two players won't be around in the JPL for much longer. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, George. Let me start with King, because he impressed us from last year when he debuted for Cavalier as a 19-year-old, because that's what he was then. Former standout central defender with the Clarendon College Da Costa Cup winning team. And he is a player at 20 years old. His performance belies his age. He plays with tremendously good understanding of the game, tremendously good positioning, good reading, of the game and what he anticipates will happen next. He is a very good ball handler. He has immense confidence on the ball. He's a defender that does not get flustered if a forward is high pressing him and, you know, trying to force him into errors. He remains calm and steady. He impressed me from last year, so I'm very happy to see him in the setup now. Daniel Green, as you said, George, has been really outstanding so far this year. He has been the main reason why Mount Pleasant are doing as good as they are in the Premier League at the moment. Always had promise, always had talent. We remember him being called into the national Olympic team some 3 years ago. He didn't shine, but he is ready to shine now. Daniel Green played well last night, and I'm very happy to see local-based Premier League players getting international opportunities and showing that they belong.
Police is killing us. I'm happy. I was very happy when I saw Malik Howell, the Waterhouse captain, come on in the second half. Again, I felt something. Ramon Howell is not Malik Howell. Malik Howell is a schoolboy from JC.
Yeah,
Ramon Howell. Yeah, this is when he came on.
Yeah.
I felt something because I'm saying this player, Waterhouse captain, cool head, very, very intelligent young man, a nice guy.
Yeah.
These are good stories. These are good things to see. The JPL producing players for the senior team. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, George. This is the base of building a team into something strong. Let's look at the full results of the matches on Thursday night in the CONCACAF World Cup Qualifiers. We spoke about the 1-1 El Salvador, Jamaica. Panama 1-1 with Honduras. No goals at the Azteca between Mexico and the USA. And Costa Rica defeating 10-man Canada by 1-0. And the standings still showing the Canadians on top. They would have qualified automatically if they had won last night, but they still hold a 3-point lead over the USA and Mexico. The USA just slightly ahead of the Mexicans based on their goal difference. Costa Rica, Panama still fighting for that spot for a qualifying position. El Salvador, Jamaica, Honduras, the bottom half of the table, and without a chance of going to Qatar. We go to break. We still have a lot more football to come, and cricket, and the SportsMax Zone scheduled to end this week in style. Back in a moment.